My name is Lisa Peterson, and I'm going to be doing the gate check presentation for Group 5. We chose to do emergency room wait time reduction. We started with our weighted scoring model, and our entire group is made up of healthcare administration majors. So we decided to choose projects that were relatable to our future careers. As you can see, the emergency room improvement plan scored the highest. It was fairly close. They were all great ideas, but we decided that this one had the most value to it, as well as one that we were all interested in doing. If you look at this figure, it shows the average emergency department wait time based on the treatment and urgency of care. Here, the lowest one of 2% has the lowest wait time, whereas the urgent care, 41% of the visits, has the highest waiting time. So we've decided to take on the task of finding ways to reduce the wait time in emergency rooms and also improving patient satisfaction and care, and for the providers as well. One of the things with this project that will be interesting and that makes it difficult with reducing any waiting room time in ERs is that you never know when an emergency is going to be coming in, and it always takes precedence. And so that's something that you have to calculate for and put into play, is knowing that there's always an emergency that will pop up and you never know when it's going to happen. For the need and the opportunity, this is another chart that shows the ER waiting times in the United States. And over here you can see Maryland, Maine, Delaware, New York is over here, and a bunch of them throughout the middle. These ones have higher populations, and therefore they have a few more waiting times. Down here you can see Montana, Colorado, Idaho over here. They have the lower waiting times, and that's something that we're going to be looking into that we'll show you on a different slide. So we feel that there's a significant need to find a way to reduce the waiting times in emergency rooms. So we're hoping to be able to come up with a plan that we can research and report on that would possibly be able to be implemented into an ER that would actually reduce the waiting time. Being able to reduce the time would mean that it would increase revenues, hopefully, for the facility, but it will also dramatically improve the patient experience, as well as take some of the stress off of the providers when they get into a rush of a lot of people. The average waiting time for all of these states is about 30 minutes. The scope of our project, if you look at our flow chart here, we started with the idea and then determined the functionality of it, and then we gathered the data that we needed. So the first one that we wanted to look into, a way to reduce the time, was look and see what kind of registration methods they offered. An example of this would be, do they offer online registration so that a person that doesn't have a life-threatening emergency would be able to get online, fill out all the papers that they need before they get to the ER, so that when they show up, that part is already done for them and their wait time is decreased. The second one we wanted to look into was what their doctor-to-patient ratios looked like. Did the hospitals that had higher doctor-to-patient ratios have higher waiting times, and vice versa? This is something that I think will be interesting, and it also ties into the next one that we wanted to look into, which is efficiency systems. Some hospitals and facilities have systems in place such as the SORT, which stands for See, Order, and Treat. And it's a program that utilizes the providers so that they're able to examine a patient in triage shortly after they've arrived at the ER. So we want to look into the ways that they do this, how they make it more efficient, not only for when an emergency arrives, they've still got to be able to get people moving through the facility. They can't just stop on that one patient. And also when they've got to have busy hours. So when the busy hours hit and more people show up, is there a system that they put into play that allows them to efficiently keep moving people through the ER? The last thing we wanted to look into had to deal with the map that we looked at here about the location. We want to know if city versus rural influences the wait times, and if it does, how it can be managed. Other things we want to look into with location would be for the ones that have the shorter wait times and a smaller population, do they do something differently than the hospitals that have more um, people coming through? Or is it just for the fact that there's more people in the city than there is in the rural areas? The time and cost and feasibility, if you look at this Gantt chart that we have started creating, you can see that the time frame goes along with the weeks in our class. So we've started this week with the initiation, and these go through the different phases that we'll do with this project, and this project will end on week 8 of the semester. And you can see here that we've already accomplished part of this week, and we'll continue to finish through this time frame, hopefully on time. It's going to require several hours a week of research and communication from each of the team members, as well as with any hospital staff member that we're able to get a hold of. The cost for it, we don't really anticipate any charges other than maybe some minimal amounts for fuel usage if we're able to visit an ER to be able to get in there and see what goes on and how it runs, which we're hoping for. So that may be the only expense that comes to our project. For the feasibility, because we're all healthcare administrators and have an interest in this area, we feel like we have the capability of reaching out to the different emergency departments in the different states that we live and be able to find out how each of them functions in the different areas that we're looking into. And this diversity of information will allow us to come up with an overall idea and a plan of action to see if what we've come up with will actually decrease waiting times. The quality, risks, and resources. So these are a few of the hospitals that we would like to look into and gain information from. They're all in the same state, but they are in different areas with different populated areas. For the quality, we feel like for the success of this project is if the steps that we came up with that we could implement in an ER, if they realistically could decrease the wait time and improve on it, then we feel like this project will be successful. But it's going to take a lot of time and research and effort on our part. Some of the potential risks, because this project is different than creating an app or a website, and it's more reporting and researching. We feel like we're not going to be able to access some of the information that we're wanting from the hospitals, or that we'll have too broad of information once we do gather it. And because of our limited time frame, it will be difficult to narrow it down the way that we want to, and will require more time than we're anticipating. And the other one is not being able to communicate the vision of this project and what we're wanting to accomplish with it effectively, because it's different than what some of the other projects in this class might be. The resources that are going to be required for this project will be our team members, the local hospitals that we choose to gather information from, our computers, obviously, so we have access to the databases and books, articles, anything that we can find and research on to help us see if this implementation of these processes is something that would be successful in decreasing. And another thing that's going to be great for us, besides the communication on Hangouts to be able to keep in touch, is the information that we will gain from the staff. And hopefully they'll be willing to give us kind of what we're looking for and we don't bother them too much. But this is the project we're wanting to do. Hopefully you guys can understand the purpose we're trying to get across. We're really excited to be doing this, and hopefully you guys will agree. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys also have to present for projects.